Greetings friends, I'm trying a new light setup on my green screen. There might be some actual effects back there this time. I don't know, if it sucks you'll just see green again, because my lights are kind of messed up. But anyway, today we're talking about Dungeon World. What is it? Should I play it? Is it fun? We'll find out. Rate me out. Pound it. Okay, so Dungeon World is a pretty interesting game because, it's a tabletop RPG, which I think should be relatively obvious if there's only a book that comes with it. But you can use the same dice that you use for D&D and your other tabletop games. You can use a D12 or D10, just depending on what character that you create. And I'll be going further into those details in future videos. And I know I've been doing mostly Dungeons & Dragons stuff, but I think this is a game that people really should be talking more about. It's been out for several years now, but it's new to me as of a few months ago. Excuse me. And essentially what it is it plays more, it's a little bit easier to pick up and run with, so if you're an advanced player looking for something new, it's not hard to learn, and if you are a new player looking to get into tabletop games because maybe you have friends who are doing it, but perhaps you tried D&D and you had some trouble with it, the thing is that this is a good, let's call it a gateway RPG. Let's do that. So essentially what it is, the character creation takes only about maybe 5 minutes to do. It's all through that little book there. And the Game Master has probably the hardest job, but even their job's actually pretty easy. There's a list of maneuvers that, again, I'll go over in future videos that everybody has, so everything's pretty cut and dry. There's only 8 moves total that you have to know, and then the rest of that is up to your imagination. So everything is reactionary as well. Most of the time, it's reactionary. There are a few times where just if you screw up, you screw up. But good little instance that'll give you an idea is instead of rolling a d20 to see if you connect or if you attack or if you succeed on these ability checks, you roll 2 d6s, or 6-sided die is what they were called before I was a tabletop gamer. And essentially, if you get high enough on the 2 d6s, you completely succeed. So if you get like a 10 or above, if you get a 7 through 9, it's kind of like what they call a mixed success, and the Game Master will take care of all that for you. And then if you get below a 6, then that's a failure. But the nice thing about failing is you still get experience points. So sometimes if you're a really bad roller, like myself, you actually might level up quicker than everybody else because the game doesn't want you to fail as much, nor do they want you to die. So it's kind of a cool little storytelling thing. And so instead of having like initiatives or turns, you still have turns, but like it's not like I rolled higher than you, so I get to go. So the one thing that always bothered me about Dungeons & Dragons and initiative rolls in particular is, like, I'm the one being like, alright, I charge in and attack the guy, and then the Dungeon Master, or myself, might say, well, roll for initiative. Okay, cool. So if I happen to get lucky and roll a high number, then I get to go in and, attack like I said I wanted to. However, if I roll poorly, then I'm just like, well, I'm going to run in, but I guess everybody else is going to run ahead of me first while I prepare my weapon or whatever the hell it is. So sometimes that always bothered me, and I guess there are surprise rounds, but I think initiative sometimes kills the flow of battle sometimes. I think it's sometimes like 4 times. Anyway, so how this would work is essentially it's all reactionary. So if the barbarian goes up to the door and kicks it in and he says, alright, I'm going to charge in and attack the first butthole I see, you would just do that, and the DM would tell you what roll to make or what action that you need to accomplish. And so you just kind of do that, and then it just plays kind of like a movie scene where it goes, oh, so-and-so's over here. This is supposed to be a camera. Well, I feel like it's a little bit more graphic than I wanted it to be. So-and-so's over here, so-and-so's over here. What's happening on this side of the room? What's happening over here? Meanwhile, over behind the wall, this person's sneaking up on a guy. So it's all like the GM bounces around. So you might be able to take 2 or 3 moves in a turn, and then the GM might cut to the other person. Another cool thing that is very important about leveling up is accomplishing objectives. So instead of there being milestones or like lengthy XP numbers you have to keep track of, like I think that to graduate the first level is 7 experience points. Again, I'll go deeper into this as you go farther into the game, but essentially if you accomplish certain objectives in each episode, you as a group talk about what you did and what you didn't do, and if you can all agree on things that you've accomplished, you get an experience point for each one of those objectives. So everybody starts to gain experience points together, and it's a lot easier to keep track of. But you also keep track of your own personal experience for how many times you failed, how many rolls you rolled that were really crappy, and also the other way that you get experience points is if you complete bonds. And bonds are probably the coolest thing about not D&D, although I wish D&D had them, about Dungeon World, is because you also get experience points for completing them. So a bond is like when you create your character, you pick bonds that you have with other characters that are in the campaign or the episode, or sometimes I think you could even do an NPC as well, depending on if there's people that are always coming in and out of the game. And so if you complete your bond, maybe it's like, the bond I have to this player is that in the past they saved me once from jail, right? Or they broke me out of jail because I was wrongfully accused. But they told me that I owed them a favor. And so I'm trying to complete that favor. So what can happen is maybe in the middle of a battle, the guy who was saved can use one of his maneuvers to get in front of the guy that saved him originally and take like an arrow for him, or to get him out of danger, or to save his life. And so even if you don't like that character, your bond is, I owe them something. So you would go fulfill that in the middle of battle, and that's a good way to fulfill a bond and get experience points. And then you make new ones depending on your interactions with other characters, and they tend to organically make themselves, which is pretty cool. So you're always looking to complete these bonds, so it makes you do more what your character would do, not what you as a player would do. And I think sometimes in D&D it's a little easy to blur the lines between, am I doing what I would do as a player or what I would do as my character? So the whole game tries to really encourage you to be the person that you created so you can escape reality for a little while, because reality's okay. But if everything were perfect, this light system wouldn't suck that I have, the room would be longer so my green screen could not be wrinkly, you know, all those things. But that's pretty much what I want to go over for now. There's a lot more to Dungeon World, but I'm going to start making a series of videos based around that. But I just kind of want to do a little test video, not only for my green screen background and my lights that I'm having a little bit of issues with. As you can probably see, my face is super white, whiter than usual. But that's the idea. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, please stick around, because I'll be having more DW videos coming up very soon. I'm so used to saying Dungeons and Dragons that I'm still trying to get the words DW, Dungeon World, out of my mouth a lot. So I might be slipping up once in a while, but you know what I'm talking about based on the title of the video. So thank you for those of you who've been watching me so far. I know this has been a little bit of a trek to kind of get my feet going, but thank you again for all of whatever support you do want to give me. And lastly, as I always like to say, I hope that you're taking care of yourself. Sincerely, I know the world sucks sometimes, and people do things they shouldn't, they say things as they shouldn't, or maybe you messed up and you did something that you wish that you hadn't. Just know that as long as you're sincere, that, typically most people will forgive you, or you can forgive yourself at least. Because some people might not, because they're bold, or maybe they're not ready. And it's okay for them not to be ready for forgiveness, but that doesn't mean that you can't forgive yourself. So if there's anything going on in your life, just know it's okay to struggle, and you always have me and probably other people in your life who will certainly care about you and want to listen, as long as you let them know that you are struggling. So take care of your brain, take care of your heart, and take care of your tummy. Eat healthy, and I'll see you next time.